Hi there, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Gardener. I'm your host, Jennifer Ebling. It's May 30th. Today, I'm heading over at 1 o'clock to Walmart to pick up my mobile order. It has a ton of things that I need to get for my student gardeners. When the kids help me out in the garden, I put them in teams of 2, and I generally have 6 to 8 kids helping me in the garden on any given day. So today I'm picking up 8 whisk brooms and 8 pruners. The whisk brooms are for some of the detailed work that we'll do along the garden paths. This year we'll be adding some polymeric sand. And the pruners, of course, are for all the pruning we'll be doing. In fact, one of the first things they learn is to chop and drop, allowing little pieces of plant material to return to the earth. Here's today's brevities. On this day in 1778, the great French writer Voltaire died. Voltaire's 17th century novel Candide, or Optimism, follows Candide, the young protagonist, in his adventures all over the world. Despite all the terrible things that happen to him, Candide never loses his optimism. Here is the most cited passage from the story. "All I know," said Candide, "is that we must cultivate our garden." "You are right," said Pangloss, "for when man was placed in the Garden of Eden, he was put there ut operatur eum, so that he might work, which proves that man was not born for the rest. Let us set to work, for that is the only way to make life bearable." Today's the birthday of Gustav Leopold Miller, born in 1884 in Henry, Illinois. And his claim to fame was the invention of the brush weeder, and it was described in the Daily Times out of Davenport, Iowa in 1918. It's composed of 2 brushes, whisk brooms in reality. The brushes are placed directly ahead of the principal shovels of the cultivators, felling the weeds about the corn plant. And as the weeds are laid low, they are covered with earth, which is thrown up by the shovels. Miller donated the first weeder to the Red Cross, and at a recent auction, sold one for the price of $60, which is about 12 times the cost for which it will be retailed. And it's the death day of Brian Lawrence Burt, who went by Bill. He died in 2008, and he was an English botanist and taxonomist, noted for his contributions to the family Gesneriaceae, the family that includes African violets. When Burt started going on plant expeditions in 1951, the Gesneriaceae family was poorly represented. Thanks to Burt's work, Edinburgh became the hub for the family, and it led to the popularity in England of the African violet and the Streptocarpus. Both became beloved windowsill plants. And if you look online, you'll see a picture of Bill Burt standing in a forest in South Africa on one of his botanizing trips. And in his hands, he's holding a very large Streptocarpus grandis leaf that looks to be about 4 feet tall. And it's National Mint Julep Day. It's made with a mint leaf, bourbon, sugar, and water. And if you ask any Southerner, spearmint is the mint of choice if you're going to make a mint julep. In unearthed words, here's a poem from Cicely Mary Barker, an English illustrator known for her work depicting fairies and flowers. The poem mentions laburnum, which is a small tree that has hanging clusters of yellow flowers. After it flowers, it produces slender pods that contain poisonous seeds. Here's the lilac fairy, by Cicely Mary Barker. White May is flowering, red May beside. Laburnum is showering gold far and wide. But I sing of lilac, the dearly loved lilac, lilac in Maytime, a joy and a pride. I love her so much that I never can tell if she's sweeter to look at or sweeter to smell. Today's book recommendation is Green Thoughts by Eleanor Pereni. We lost Eleanor in 2009 at the age of 91. This book is widely considered to be a classic of garden writing. It was her only book. She wrote about working in her Connecticut garden. Pereni was not a fan of rock gardens, pesticides, or petunias. She once called them as hopelessly impractical as a chiffon ball dress. There are many wonderful quotes and sayings that are attributed to Eleanor in her book, Green Thoughts. Here are a few of my favorites. A little studied negligence is becoming to a garden. The double hoops for peonies are beyond description, maddening to unfold and set in place. 2 people are needed, one of them with better control of his temper than I have. I ordered a modern purple Martin house myself and proceeded to construct a dreadful object. Unpainted, it looked like a cheap motel. Painted blue and white, it looked like a cheap Greek motel and had to be thrown out. Here's today's garden chore. Incorporate more perennial vines into your garden. Vines have many more uses beyond just climbing the trellis. Off the trellis ideas include allowing them to amble their way through your garden, over walls, up into shrubs and trees, in containers, and more. Finally, here's something sweet to revive the little botanic spark in your heart. In 1906, the Superior Times out of Superior, Wisconsin, shared a solution to a common backyard problem: unsightly clothesline posts. It started out this way. One usually thinks of clothesline posts as necessary evils and accepts their ugliness as unredeemable. It will surprise many to learn that they may be made beautiful and retain their usefulness. I have also seen a set of clothes posts in a backyard entirely covered with living green, a luxuriant growth of Virginia creeper. The best permanent screen for unsightly objects is a group of evergreens, but a clump of lilacs costs less and begins to be effective sooner. Thanks for listening to The Daily Gardener, and remember, for a happy, healthy life, garden every day. The Daily Gardener is produced weekdays in lovely Maple Grove, Minnesota. You can find complete show notes over at thedailygardener.org, and be sure to share the show with your garden friends. You can find The Daily Gardener on all your favorite social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest, and of course, Facebook. While you're over at Facebook, don't forget to join the Daily Gardener community. Just search for these 3 words, Daily Gardener Community. The group will pop right up and then request to join. Finally, I want to thank my team at Podfly Productions, where my fabulous editor is Eric Begay. Have a great day in the garden, and we'll see you tomorrow.